And in this section, I'm just going to give some tips on some things that I find beneficial in doing full readings, as far as getting clients to know, like, and trust you, as well as become repeat clients and hopefully refer people to you. Because if you took my previous course, that kind of goes into all the details you need on how to do a tarot reading and all the messages. So we're not going to cover that in this course, but I'll kind of go through some of the tips that I use, which I find super beneficial from my experience. First one is, before I do any reading, I kind of got my own little pattern down. You should introduce yourself, give a little bit of background about yourself. This helps build or break down the know, like, and trust as well, so they feel like you're an actual person rather than just a random reading that they're getting from a machine or just something like that. They feel like they get to know you a little bit. I like to explain that I like to do astrology, numerology, and tarot, and I like to bring that into my readings. And I also lead a mindful community, so I like to do some kind of Eastern wisdom mindful advice wherever I can as well, and bring that into my readings as well too. But I think anything that you can do to quickly connect with the person and help them know that you're a real person just here to help and serve them will help to break down the know, like, and trust. The second one I like to do is to also kind of set expectations. So I like to tell people, because especially some people who don't really know if this is their first tarot reading or they haven't had many tarot readings. I tell them that I'm not psychic in any way, but I'm going to read the energies of the cards, and hopefully it resonates with you and then helps you on your journey. Because I think if people don't, I think the people always kind of connect tarot and psychics together, because there are a lot of psychics who use cards as well. But I think if you set those expectations, because if someone gets a reading from you at the end, they're like, I was really disappointed. I thought you were going to make psychic predictions about who my next boyfriend or girlfriend might be, or what my next job will be, or when it will come, and all that kind of stuff. Then that's not someone who's going to come back and get a repeat reading for you, because they're very disappointed. But if you set the expectations up front, like, this is a tarot reading, I'm not going to make psychic predictions, you do that up front, then I think they can say, okay, I knew you weren't going to make those predictions, so I shouldn't have had the expectations for you to name my next significant other, or tell me when I'll have children, or whatever the case may be, what they're going through in their life. Next two I actually like to do, I think I find very helpful, is what I've kind of come into this is, for new clients, I like to prove myself. And what that means is I don't want them to give me a lot of background, or even ask questions, or even interact with them a whole lot in the readings. Especially, it's easier to do if you're doing a 3-card reading. I just read the cards flat and then hope something resonates with them, and see if that really resonates with them. They're like, oh yeah, you really dug into some stuff. Because I've had some people, for their first readings, they'll ask me their question, then they'll say, well, should I give you a lot more background? It's a very complicated situation, very complicated relationship. Should I give you more background? And I'm always like, no, don't give me any more background. I don't want to know anything about it, because I just want to read the energies for you. And then that way you can kind of trust that if it does resonate with you, that it's not because you just told me the whole story and I just regurgitated your story back to you, that it's actually that I read the cards, and then that kind of helps you as well too. So I think that helps people who are new readings. It kind of, it's like, oh, they did have some kind of insight, I got some clarity, I got something unexpected. I didn't expect to resonate with some of the messages in those readings. But also, I think then they kind of like say, okay, well, I'm going to come back, because this is someone who really is a legit tarot reader. Because there's some people who may not, I've had skeptics and so forth who have come through and done readings with me, and then afterwards say, oh, I kind of did it on a whim, especially if it's just a small 3-card reading and not a lot of a small investment. They're like, I did it on a whim, just to see, just for fun, or see what a tarot reader might say. But actually, now I believe it, or really resonated with me. It's really helpful, and then that's someone who would be more likely to convert to full-time full reading, or regular client, or repeat client. However, for repeat clients, I find from interactions with them, and everyone may vary as you get to know your clients even better, it'll vary. So there are some clients of mine that I'll do the reading for them, and then they basically tell me the whole story of what's going on, and then we can kind of revisit and go deeper on the energies to say, okay, based on what you're telling me, this is what's going on. Or even Especially works really well in person. If I'm doing an in-person reading with someone who I've had done multiple readings for, then I'll even ask them questions instead of coming to a card and explaining the energy. I'll ask them, I say, well, who's the third wheel in this situation, or who's the extra influence in the situation, whatever the case may be. And if you've done enough readings for them that they've gone past the barrier and they believe that you're a legit tarot reader, then I think they really appreciate that extra depth where you're almost putting them on the spot, and then they say, okay, well, hold on, this is what's going on. And then I think you can uncover some more nuggets and help them move forward or go deeper in the reading. So I think reading the energies of the cards as is will be super helpful for anybody. But then I find my repeat clients who already just trust you, they believe in the tarot cards, so then they're willing to give you extra information. Not that you can use it to prove that you're a good tarot reader, but then to help, kind of go deeper on a topic, go deeper to look for more connections or ways out of it. Because there are times, I love, the general energy might be is, you want to do something, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like you want to do something, but the short-term pain is holding you back versus the long-term what is right to do. And you can leave it at that energy, but if they'll say, oh yeah, well actually you know what's going on, and they can tell you the exact specific situation, and then you can connect that to other cards or other tips to say, okay, well here's the way out of it, or here's what you need to focus on, here's the other card that's important to that card, which you already knew, but then that becomes the energy you need to focus on to help you get past that barrier or that blockage that's preventing you from doing what you really want to do to get past that hurdle. So if that makes sense. So these are the things that I find really, in the end, you kind of have to cater your reading experience to each client and each client's needs, and then also on your know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, refer journey, know where they are on that journey and know what they would need to hopefully progress to the next step and the next step and the next step to become a really loyal tarot follower for you. And that's why I think anything you can do, even over time, I'll give quick, tidbits to some people, who I've done multiple readings. Just say, if I usually try to turn around my readings as quick as possible, but if I get delayed a couple days from being busy, I'll just let them know what I was doing, or saying I was taking time for family, or we had a birthday, or what my kids are up to, or anything like that. And it just helps build rapport and relationship with people, so you become a three-dimensional person, and they actually get to know you. And then I think definitely the setting expectations. It's like, this is what I'm going to do for you, and then you deliver it. If you don't ever tell them up front what you're going to deliver for them, then it leads to their interpretation, especially people who haven't had many tarot readings, as to what a tarot reading could be or what information they would expect to get. And they can bring their own expectations into the situation, and you are less likely to deliver on their unknown expectations that you've never even heard of, right? From movies, wherever the case may be. But if you're very clear up front and say, this is what I'm going to deliver for you, and at the end it'd be like, does that make sense? Did I deliver it for you? Then they're likely to agree with that and more likely become a repeat client. And then again, for new clients, I do like to, have them give me less information and then kind of prove myself just by reading it flat and hoping it resonates with them. And then for repeat clients, I find that they really like to go deeper because they already trust it. So you're not looking to prove yourself. You don't need to. You can kind of release the veil a little bit and kind of almost for some people, you almost end up reading it together, because for multiple clients, you'll find that there are cards that just kind of keep coming up. They'll move around in different positions. So some clients will know. They'll be like, okay, well, last time I had this card and you told me it was here, and this kind of stuff. So it's almost, you end up being a team, reading it together. You've got the depth of knowledge, and they have at least enough knowledge of your history of readings to kind of know cards that that resonate with them. Because when I do live readings, most of my clients would end up taking a picture of the cards as well, so they can go back and kind of think about it and think about the main messages and takeaways, so they end up getting an idea of what the cards look like, or have some kind of intuition to specific cards that kind of keep coming up for them. So then they almost becomes a team effort to then read through the cards and help them through the situations. So those are just some tips and tricks that I find super helpful. The 3-card reading is really to help you with converting someone to becoming a full client. And then that kind of section covered that. And then this section, whether it is, you can apply these tips to your 3-card readings if that's where the first reading that you do for people, or do it for your full readings if that's the first place that you do it for people. But I find that taking some of these tips kind of helps people get down that know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, refer journey a lot more efficiently. and helps you kind of grow your business that way versus random hoping that your readings are resonating, hoping they're landing. And that's why in the next section we'll talk, which is following up with your clients to try to generate repeat business. You should again reach out to them. So I think I would say the vast majority of my clients, especially if I do, like I said, mentioned now, I always think live readings are the best you can do. If you can do video Zoom meetings, it's a pandemic, then that works as well too. And if you have to do recorded readings, then that's fine. And I would say that's the least efficient for know, like, trust, but that's what I actually do right now for my business, just because it makes my schedule as flexible as possible so I can fit in as many readings as I can. I just can't guarantee when they're going to occur, so that's why I use my efficiency for my capacity. But what I find from that is that you then need to, most of my clients, especially those who have repeated for me, will always reach out and say, oh, this reading really resonates with me because of these things. Or they'll say, this part really resonates with me. This part's a little confusing to me because I'm feeling this and the cards are saying that, or whatever the case might be. And then you kind of help them through that. And there are some people who just don't respond at all. I'm like, oh, I hope that resonated with you. I never heard from you, especially if it's like your first time repeating for a client, your second reading, you're like, oh, was that a total dud reading? Did not resonate with them and now they're not going to come back? Like they really had a great first experience and now not their second experience. So this next section is going to be if you reach out again proactively, and that's why I believe growing your email list and your text list is the most important thing, which we'll talk in the next lecture. Then you can reach out to them and say, hey, how was your last reading? Did it help you? Did it resolve your issue? Where are you in this issue? You can reach out in a truly caring way, because as I mentioned before, I do care about these people and I do want to know they're making progress against the situations that we're discussing and getting readings on. And you can almost reach out in a caring way. It's like, hey, how was that last reading? Are you making progress? How are things going? And it will actually spur in their mind like, oh, you know what? I think I'm ready for another reading because XYZ, or, it's been so long, or, several events have happened since then. So now the situation is totally different. So I really want some clarity on where I am now. So all those kinds of things can really help you grow your business and move people kind of down your funnel to really building a community of people and an audience that you can access and reach out to, rather than just one-off readings with clients that just disappear and you kind of never see or talk to them again.